Magnet television.
Magnet television.
Magnet television.
You're watching Magnet television because what else are you going to do?
This is Pete Yorn, and you're watching Magnet Television, the new MTV. My favorite all-time songs, a really hard question. The answer could change day to day, but today, I thought about the first thing that pops in my mind is Born to Run by the great Bruce Springsteen. I'm sure there's a lot of Springsteen fans out there. And while I will say Born to Run today, Freedom by Wham is up there, though. I gotta tell you, I love that song. But I'm gonna stay with Born to Run right now, and that's not even being ironic. I really do love the song Freedom by Wham. But not the George Michael single Freedom, which is also a great song, actually. But this is I Don't Want Your Freedom. That Wham single was really fun. Anyway, Born to Run, it has the power to make me really pumped up and then really sad at the same time. So it has this perfect combination of strength and fragility and emotion that just every time I hear it, it's a song that I never get sick of. Anytime it comes on, I gotta turn it up and I'm just gonna get pumped. And then by the end, together when did we can live through the sadness, I'll get a little emotional there and get a little nostalgic. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful opus that Bruce created. And I'm very grateful that song exists, and it's a wonderful record, Born to Run as a whole as well. Okay. There's a few that come to mind for me. There's songs that changed my life. I could go back and remember the moment that I heard the song for the first time and just was stopped in my tracks. Vapor Trail by Ride's one of those songs I remember hearing and just being like, Pearl by Chapter House is one of those songs. But this is about an album that changed my life. I remember being a kid. I was 12 years old. My parents took me from Jersey on a family vacation, springtime, I think, down to the Bahamas on Grand Bahama Island, Freeport. There was a resort there that got destroyed in a hurricane years later called the Princess. And I think my dad had a little timeshare apartment there. And I remember meeting this kid. He was probably like 13. He was tall and skinny. He was like a year older than me. He seemed like 5 years older than me, and he was smoking cigarettes. I remember thinking, "Wow, this kid's smoking cigarettes. He's 13. I don't know." And I remember him telling me, something like, "I'm like, how do you smoke, man?" He's like, "Oh, you just breathe the big inhales if you're taking your first deep breath in the morning to welcome the morning day." And I thought, cool. Years later, I would smoke a little bit, probably too many cigarettes, but I quit that a long time ago. Anyway, I remember sitting with that kid, and this blonde girl walks up to us, uninvited, she had a mop top, little blonde hair, and a round face. I could still see her. And she was probably 12, 13, and in a very deep Southern accent, she goes, "Y'all like the Smiths?" And at that time, maybe I had heard of them, but the way she said it sounded so cool. I said, "Where are you from?" And she said, "I'm from Pensacola, Florida." And I had never heard of a town called Pensacola, Florida at that point as a kid growing up in Jersey. It sounded exotic, and it's just a weird word, Pensacola. It sounded strange. But I always remember that. But I remember she said, "Y'all like the Smiths," and I just played it off. I didn't really know them yet. I was just about to get introduced to them. I went home after the trip to the Bahamas, and I was with my dad at a place called either Two Guys, this kind of electronics department store on Route 46. And they also sold music, and he bought me a cassette tape of Louder Than Bombs. That's what they had. That was the only Smiths thing that they had. And I brought it home, and Louder Than Bombs was put out in America, I think, in March of '87. So I was just had come out, and I was 12 because I wouldn't turn 13 till July of '87. And I remember going into my bedroom by myself, and I had a little a little skinny little double cassette player, and I popped in the Louder Than Bombs cassette, and right away, Is It Really So Strange opens it up, and I'm like, cool. And then Morrissey starts singing, and I don't know nothing about this band yet, other than some instinct told me that I should like them. But I start to hear him sing, and I'm like, wow, he sounds so English and kind of effeminate vocals and big accent, and I didn't know what to make of it at first. I had already been introduced to The Cure by my brothers, and I loved The Clash and U2 and REM, but I was just getting to the Smiths, and I remember just being in my bedroom and letting that tape flow, and it blew me away. I think my favorite song, I think Sheila Take a Bow, really jumped out at me early on, and what else did? Half a Person. I absolutely love the Call Me Morbid, Call Me Pale. That one. Girl Afraid. I remember I'd never heard rockabilly guitar like that. That sort of guitar playing. Bing, ding, 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 ding. I remember hearing that, and it really influencing me. And this is right around the time that I started to learn guitar. Just plenty of music on that beautiful record. It was long. So, and it was created for the U.S. market. All the singles and B-sides and all that stuff. And so I'll say that record really influenced me. There are tons of records that influenced me and changed my life, but that one definitely changed my life in a big way. And probably maybe a week or two later, my brother would come home for his spring break from University of Maryland, where he was a freshman or sophomore, and he played me Big Mouth Strikes Again for the first time, and then everything just got blown wide open as far as me being a Smiths fan for life. Okay. I've been to so many great concerts over the years by other bands, but I usually like to say my favorite concert, if I'm just thinking about it right now, especially, in this climate where I know I can't tour for a while or play any concerts. I think the last show that I did, it was in December of 2019, and I don't take it for granted. It was at the Great American Music Hall. It was me, my backing band at the time, Daywave, and it was a beautiful show, great way to end the tour. It was for the Caretakers tour, and a lot of my family came up for it, and it was a special night. My niece, who's now 20 years old, she was 19 at the time, she joined me on stage for the first time ever and sang Relator with me, and that was really cool. And it was just a beautiful crowd and beautiful night, and that sticks with me right now, stays close to my heart and in my head, and I'm hoping to be able to play more concerts and make more memories as soon as possible. I don't have many embarrassing musical moments. I feel like I pretty much deliver the goods whenever I try to play music. But I do have one thing that comes to mind. Years ago, we were booked to play on Carson Daly had a show called like Later or Late Night with Carson Daly. I don't know, or whatever. It was some nighttime music show and entertainment show, and Carson Daly was a nice guy, and he booked me and my band on the show. And all I remember is there was a studio audience, and my band was set up on stage, and all the equipment was out there, and then the backstage was kind of small, and to get to the stage, you got to walk up like these 3 little stairs, and then there's like a little small square door right behind the drum set, and the band, when we get called to the stage to perform, we come through that door. And I remember, I don't know, we must have been hanging out backstage, some of us, and getting pumped up for the show. And all I know is when it came time, ladies and gentlemen, Pete Yorn, and the crowd's on and they're filming it. We walk through I go up 3 of the stairs to go through the little door to get on the stage. And the last step I just totally trip on and just straight over, and that was how the crowd saw me walk onto the stage. And then I think I jumped up completely, probably beet red, embarrassed, and kind of like Steve Martin in Parenthood when he falls off the horse and jumps up, I'm okay. I think I jumped up like that or something. And then, continued to just shake it off and do our thing. But I remember at the time I was like, I was kind of mortified. And the truth is, I don't know if anyone even saw it, but I feel like they had to have seen that happen. But I don't know. Hey, this is Pete Yorn from Not Any Place Very Special.
Cine.